on News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
O'Connor and Company.
It is 7:37 on News Talk 105.9 WMAL. We are making sense of the news. Happy Thursday to everybody, or pre-Friday, as we could call it, or traffic day number 4, as Jamie Whitten calls it. I'm Andrew Langer, in for Larry O'Connor and O'Connor and Company. Joining me today, or I'm joining her today, Mercedes Schlapp. Good morning.
Good morning. We have the first week of school, so the girls have been so driving me crazy.
Oh,
quite
my
frankly,
God.
getting them out the door.
I do miss that very much. I'm not going to lie. Just the chaos of getting the kids out there. Next hour, we're going to be joined by Marc Trammell from the Center for American Liberty, as well as Mark Morgan from the Heritage Foundation. But joining us right now is Marc Morano from Climate Depot. Mark, you know something? We don't have to play it. I just want to get into it. The president once again yesterday is now. It really is everything. Everything is climate. Everything is climate change. The Maui wildfires that were caused by the electrical grid failing, that was climate change. Hurricane Idalia, which isn't it's not a significant hurricane. That's climate change. We had the FEMA director talking about climate change. Climate change is national security. I mean, climate change. You know, it's the catch-all, isn't it, nowadays?
It really is, Andrew. What happened with Hurricane Idalia is perhaps the new moronic low of the climate movement. We have media outlets, the White House, all the activists calling it unprecedented. Do you know why they're calling it unprecedented? Well, first of all, it's unprecedented 126 years because it hit one 50-mile beach in Florida that had never had a hurricane in that one 50-mile beach hit before. Now, it's nothing unusual. As you mentioned, it's a hurricane, Category 3 hurricane, similar to at least 46 previous landfalling U.S. hurricanes.
Yes.
It's only unprecedented because it hit that small 50-mile beach that had never had that before. Now,
Mark, time out for a second. Give me 1 second here. There is a game that they play in rural county fairs. And Mercy, the more you guys spend out in rural Virginia, you'll see this, where they will have a grid on a field where there are cows. And you can buy a space on this grid to bet where a cow is going to make poop. Leave its poop. That's essentially what we're talking about here. Eventually, all of the coast of the Gulf Coast is going to get hit by a hurricane. It just happened that the cow poop hit this stretch of beach, isn't it?
Yes, and they can claim unprecedented. And what they've done here is, because of this, they're out there saying this was induced by climate change, and climate change increased the intensification. What intensification? Even meteorologist Ryan Maui called this a media fail. He went after CNN and others who were claiming the intensification, the unprecedented. There's no there. Yeah, right. It was a Category 3 hurricane. It was bad. Florida's used to them. Almost 50 other hurricanes were similar in the U.S. There's just nothing to see here in terms of climate. Move along. But you opened it by saying they are they're using every weather event. The Maui fires, how can you get more insane than to blame that on climate change? First of all, global wildfires are down dramatically over the last 100 years. U.S. wildfires are down. They didn't manage their land. They didn't manage their energy grid. They didn't release sirens. They didn't release water. They spent all their money on green energy instead of fixing their energy grid and the overgrowth. And now they're the first state in the nation that's going to go net zero. But hey, they're on fire. They had a huge fire and people are dead. But let's blame climate change because then we don't have to look at any of the mistakes the politicians made.
Let's dig deeper into this because yesterday on Newsmax and the Chris Plant Show, we talked about how the Pentagon military leadership, they were scrambling to get their climate change plan in place because they were being hounded by the far left climate activists who are controlling this Biden administration. Of course, this is happening during the time that we see the botched Afghanistan situation caused by Biden's inept ability to make decisions. It has infiltrated, this obsession with climate change has infiltrated the Democrat Party and controlled the Democrat Party for quite some time. Do you think it's just gotten worse?
It has. In fact, you mentioned, the military, Pentagon. the idea that climate is a national security threat is not only flat out wrong and not supported by the data, it's the exact opposite. It's when you have cold periods with higher death rates. By the way, cold kills 8 to 20 times more than heat. And actually, the fact that we've warmed since the end of the Little Ice Age in 1850 has meant that fewer people die in the winter as we warm. So it's a net positive in terms of death rate. In fact, over the last 100 years, 99% drop in climate-related deaths globally. That's how not much of a non-threat climate change is. But there have been serious military studies, Center for Strategic International Studies. The times of the greatest conflict have happened during cool periods, not warm periods. And here's one for you. This was actually a peer-reviewed journal by a researcher named Emily Oster. She did a study that witch trial accusations of witches went up predominantly during the Little Ice Age and dropped during warmer periods, because when you have cold weather, you have crop failure, you have more bad weather, and you have food shortages, and people look to blame someone. Right. And guess what? They used to blame witches. But now, hey, we've advanced as a society. Now we blame SUVs and pizza ovens and gas stoves for the bad weather. We no longer blame witches. So we're much more intellectually along the path.
And it is the same kind of magical thinking. Listen, Marc Morano, we have to leave it there. The website is climatedepot.com. Thank you so very much for joining us today.
Thanks a lot, Andrew. Thanks, Mercedes.
Take care. We've got more coming up at 7:43 on WMAL.